Hey everybody. So I had an opportunity yesterday to get together with a group of women for what we want to call the new moon ceremony. And there's sort of a connected group that we've committed to getting together. And so it's a safe space, a safe haven to express some of the things that you're going through and have the support, the unconditional support of each other. Sometimes we use the talking stick, and sometimes we just bounce, throw things into the fire with each other and go through it. And yesterday, there were many things discussed, one of which was the weight gain. And so I tuned into one of those clients. So that's on a previous video from today. So please go look at that. So we were talking about control, giving up control, and the outcomes of controlling the outcomes of the fixing, pleasing, reaching outside of our scope of just always wanting to be the end all be all to other people, and learning to pull that energy back in into one column of light, bringing it in, contracting some of that energy, really work on honing in to all of this before we expand out to help others. So the self-help, self-care, self-nurturing, self-love is critically important because we're all going through massive changes. So in saying all that, we each individually had some things that we were working on, and then it led to conversations with the Aries moon of, I think I'm going to clean out my closet. And you know what? I've been looking at that outfit for how many years, and it just needs to finally fly out of here and be somebody else's, you know? So the other things that were coming up were, this is what's going on with myself as well. So we all wind up sharing very, very commonalities of what's occurring. And so one of them is writing something down and then going back and looking at it, and the words are completely different. And yet you thought for sure you had written it down, or you sent out a text, or you made a post about something, and you go back and you're like, how did that word become that word? Like, it's just really bizarre. Being invisible, not seeing cars around you, not having people see your car. That's come up to me a few times where people have zipped in and out, or walk right by me, or been in conversation around me as if I wasn't standing there, and like not even giving me eye contact, as if I was invisible. And so I've had to remember to uncloak myself and to be visible and to be fully grounded. So it's required much more grounding. So there's this strong urge to get your feet out there on Mother Earth, to lay on Mother Earth, to sit up next to a tree, to hold a tree. And if you live in an apartment and these things can't happen, or you're at your desk at work, pick up a plant, bring a plant in that's significant to you, that you want to nurture and love and have conversations, dialogues telepathically and verbally, etc., in the presence of that plant. And put that plant between your hands. Like I have one right here. So, and I have some over there. So sometimes I just breathe in and out the love of this beautiful plant. And then I see that its roots are in the container here, but I see where they came up from the ground, or where they're going into the ground when I'm going to plant them, and that the rooting comes through my body, and that I embody this gorgeous plant. So never give me an excuse of why you can't do something, because there's so many ways of reality to create something that works for you. Okay. Other topics that came up. Knowing that more is to come and just not feeding into it. Whatever is going on externally in the world, it's coming from internal things that need to be released, that have been carried around for eons within our blood. And you know, I use the analogy at times that none of us are starving. We may have malabsorption problems from disruptions through chemicals in our foods, but we're not starving. We're not really lack of food. We may have less of it because we're making choices because of money. But because of the Great Depression, many of the lineages after grandmothers lived through that is still in our DNA. So we have to work with that. I had a prime example of owning a gorgeous little Jack Russell. And Jack Russells were breeded, I don't know when, but a long time ago, to go in the holes and to chase foxes, right? That's what they're trained to do. And they still do that in some areas where they do fox hunts, but they use hounds too. But anywho, I owned a Jack Russell. Now, its parents were show dogs, and their parents before that were show dogs. So they never hunted fox, ever, okay? But my little guy, if he would go outside and we had fox, if he got on a fox scent, immediately his breathing, and he would just going crazy. I don't even think he knew what he was going crazy about, but it was in his DNA. I sense the smell, and I'm supposed to go after it. So these things are all in our DNA. They are in there, whether they're coming up to you, whether you're being told, oh, yeah, it's really normal life or whatever. That's why I love the hypnosis and the regression work that I do, because we go in there and we figure it out, and you decide, is it a keeper? Do you let it go? You bring better understanding to why it's there. You can literally hopscotch through lifetimes. It's actually kind of fun, and it's very rewarding. So anyway, the topics that were brought together were very powerful. And so I encourage you to find yourself a small knit group of friends where you can just sit and be unconditionally yourself. And if you need to do a cry or an ugly cry or whatever, you're just fully supported. It doesn't mean we have to run to each other and embrace each other while we're crying, because sometimes that stops the process, or it's filling a void in another emotional component of that. Sometimes, at least my philosophy is in my groups that I do, is you don't stop the process. You just allow them to just cry. If they choose to reach for a tissue, that's fine. But there's just love and compassion there by just looking at someone while they're going through that releasing process. And tears are just the release of deeper emotions that don't actually have to have thought. Okay, you're releasing things in the pain body or the joy body, things like that. So don't get all caught up in it, the rhyme and the reason of things. So anyway, Spirit's saying that's enough for right now. And yeah, I would if you're going to be doing some more shadow work and you want to start on it, I really highly suggest get to my website, embodimentofthesoul.com, get some appointments with me while I have them available, because more and more people are awakening to the fact that we've got to let some things go in order to bring in all this new information and to be much more acutely aware of our sensory systems and our extrasensory systems, because that is what we really need to be expanding on. Okay? All right. Love that column of light, because that's the one thing you've got control over. Please like, subscribe, and share, because you've got voluntary control over this finger, brain, finger. Hit that like, hit that share, leave me a comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.